Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Am I the asshole for standing my ground during a birthday dinner? I, 50 female, have a son who recently turned 18. We're going out to celebrate his birthday with a family dinner with our family and his aunt and uncle. The night before, I asked him where he wanted to go, and he decided on an Indian restaurant we usually go to. Good taste. Just to see if he wanted to switch it up or try something different because it's a special occasion, I suggested another Indian restaurant we went to once about 5 years ago that recently reopened. He declined, saying that he didn't remember the restaurant and didn't know if the quality would still be the same 5 years later. I then suggested a new sushi restaurant that had caught my eye. He declined again because he didn't want to run the risk of having a bad restaurant for his birthday. So we stayed with the normal Indian restaurant. The next day, his aunt and uncle, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, came over. They are very nice people and my son loves them a lot. I realized that they had already been to my son's chosen Indian restaurant twice already. I didn't want to bore our guests, so I brought up a new Greek restaurant that had also caught my eye and asked my son to look at the menu. He looked through it rather quickly and declined, but then I remembered there was a new Italian restaurant that I wanted to do for my birthday, but felt like my son would really like too. And when I asked him to look at that place's menu, he said okay. When we arrived at the Italian restaurant that night, we noticed that a more fast food pasta cafe had a location across the freeway. My brother-in-law joked that we could have gone there because it was cheaper. My son laughed, but I personally took offense to that. Dinner gets served and the food was really good. However, the 2 cake slices for dessert came out rather small, as if they cut it in half and served it to us as if it were 2 slices. And sure enough, the bill included 2 desserts, not 1. So I felt like we'd been scammed. We passed the same fast food pasta cafe driving back home, and my husband joked about how my son chose a fishy restaurant that scammed us. My son says, "Hey, this wasn't my choice." But then my sister-in-law follows up with the, "Could have gone to the fast food pasta place and they wouldn't have scammed us for $20. Joke. My son, now laughing, says, "Well, maybe talk to the person who chose the restaurant." He is being extremely disrespectful towards me. And all these jokes are offensive, not my apostrophes. It's well past 3 strikes, and I shout that the next time I'll keep my fucking mouth shut. I'm not going to stand being attacked like this, since my son is an adult who can make his own decisions. When we arrived home, my son tried to apologize, but I didn't want to hear it. Later on, he tries to ask me how my dinner was. This was a fake attempt to make me feel better and apologize again, so I calmly reminded him that I didn't want to talk about the dinner. And that was that. I didn't want to be reminded of how I was attacked over a simple restaurant. Am I the asshole? Yeah. Yeah, you are. It's just as simple as that. If this was just simple banter, but you obviously took it to heart because you knew they were right. Your son wanted to go to an Indian restaurant. You didn't want to bore the guest, so you bombarded him constantly with more restaurants to choose from. He probably realized that you weren't going to relent, so he finally just decided to cave in and go with your suggestion. Your suggestion kind of sucked by the sounds of it because of the dessert, and everyone was kind of clowning on it. Your son not liking the fact that he was being blamed for the fact that you pressured him to go to the Italian restaurant was like, "Hey, this wasn't my choice." And you had to deal with the consequences of pushing your son to go to a place that he didn't want to go to on his birthday. It's also f***ed up that you put your son in a position where he felt like he had to apologize because of your behavior. You're an adult. Act like it. Okay, buckle in, everyone. Am I overreacting for divorcing my husband over a theory? Am I overreacting? 30 female. I'm a chronic overthinker, and due to past trust issues in this relationship, I'm dwelling on a potential relationship ruiner. We've been married for a year and together for much longer, through thick and thin. My brother-in-law, 21 male, is not even engaged yet, but has a long-term girlfriend that he will undoubtedly marry. My husband will be the best man. I'm worried about the bachelor party. It's a boundary for me to have no strippers in this relationship, but because my brother-in-law is so young, he'll have an unruly party and has crazy friends. My husband won't plan strippers, but I'm worried the night will involve something I'm uncomfortable with, something I will divorce over. Don't talk about the right-wrong of boundaries, they're not negotiable. So the question is, do I cut my losses now? Why waste the next couple of years when I feel like I'm facing a probable expectation? Is there any way around this? I know this situation hasn't actually unfolded. That's why I might be overreacting, but also am reasonable in my marriage expectations. Help. If I do nothing, I will dwell and build resentment. Husband won't talk this out with me. Edit, I won't actually divorce now, y'all rip me apart. I get it. Is it reasonable to consider divorce if the situation did unfold in the future? Likely or unlikely? Okay, I understand the chronic overthinking, but this is a bit much. This is the same kind of stuff as you being mad at your husband or boyfriend because you had a nightmare where they cheated on you, and now you're taking it out in the real world. I'm very happy you did not divorce him over this, because that would be an insane story to have to explain to someone. Hey, why'd your wife divorce you? Well, she had a hypothetical in her mind where I had strippers at my brother's bachelor party when he hasn't even proposed to his girlfriend yet. So she divorced me. I really think the best solution here is that you should probably see a therapist, because this definitely has some underlying issues and could flare up in the future and cause more doubts and more issues in your relationship. I think couples counseling and you need to see some personal therapy, because it sounds like you definitely have had some pretty bad experiences to the point where you're already willing to cut your losses to make sure that you won't be hurt again. And I don't think you're the devil in this scenario, I just think you're really jumpy and probably need some professional help. I hope you can find it, because you're definitely gonna need it to be able to live a long and happy life. Am I the asshole for being selfish and mean to my boyfriend's best friend? My boyfriend works out daily. He's attractive and fit and put together, but his best friend is not that, which is fine. I don't want to be rude, but his best friend is overweight and seems not put together. But they've been friends since they were babies, and he really does love him a lot. I do try to get along with him, it's just a little awkward. I'm surprised they're friends, they seem like opposites, but they are really close. I do think my boyfriend could do better, but that's not who he wants as a best friend. But anyway, it was his BFF's birthday and we went on vacation. His friend wanted to go on a hike, so we took him. I work out, so I wasn't out of sweat or breathing hard at all. Neither was my boyfriend, but his best friend forever was. He was grasping for air and we had to keep stopping for him to rest up. I kept trying to get us to keep going, but my boyfriend kept telling me to stop. But we're on vacation and I wanted to get back to the city so we could walk around and have fun, etc. So yeah, I was annoyed and trying to get his BFF to hurry along. At one point, I was at a rest stop on the trail waiting for them to catch up. His friend finally shows up. I get up and said, okay, let's go, let's hurry up. But my boyfriend got mad at me. He said, what, the person who needs the most rest gets no rest at all? And he said I needed to chill out and stop rushing him. It shocked me that he got upset with me. Honestly, I wasn't expecting it, so I didn't say anything. We got to the end of the hike way longer than it should have taken, and my boyfriend told his friend to wait and we'd bring the car. While we were walking to the car, I said I didn't appreciate him snapping at me. He said I was being selfish. His best friend was struggling and I was rushing him along, and it's his birthday. I said maybe if it was such a struggle and he can't walk up a mountain, he shouldn't go for a hike on his birthday. He's a grown-ass man. He doesn't need me to coddle him and tell him he's doing great. He already has my boyfriend for that. He coddles him too much. I want to walk around the city and have a good time and maybe do some shopping. Me for not wanting to spend 4 hours on a hike that my boyfriend and I could have finished in half the time because his friend can't walk up some stairs? If anything, he should be questioning why his friend wanted to come up here instead of telling me I'm being selfish. Like, if you're overweight and can't walk, why come to a trail and make it everyone else's problem? Oof, God. Am I the asshole here? I was hurt he called me selfish and it really killed the vibe. Hun, bestie, you're the reason why people have a hard time wanting to go to the gym and actually improve their lives. He wants to go on a hike. He has issues working out. Your boyfriend sounds supportive as hell and honestly really fucking cool. He's helping his friend out with getting himself some exercise and actually being supportive on his weight loss journey. And you're being, well, a real Regina George, honestly. Like, let me get this straight. He chooses to struggle on his birthday. He goes up the mountain. He works his ass off. Your boyfriend supports him. Homie of the year right there. and you're just complaining. How is he supposed to improve if you're gonna act like this? Like, seriously. You went out of your way to complain that he's not put together and overweight. Your words. And then when he tries to do something about that, you spend the entire time complaining and being selfish. You should take this opportunity to reflect and apologize. Originally posted to r/relationship advice. My 26 male girlfriend, 28 female, is trying to limit my relationship with my best friend, 25 female. How do I let her know that my friends are here to stay? I have a good amount of female friends. I have more male friends than female friends, but still a lot. I'll say it's 60% male friends compared to 40% female friends. Now, it hasn't been an issue for my girlfriend, Courtney. And at first, she was very secure in the relationship. That was until I started hanging out with Amaya more. Amaya just finished pharmacy school and was completing her rotation, so while she was doing that, we didn't spend as much time together. We met in undergrad. Now, my girlfriend has no issue with Amaya. Even when I was sending her money because they didn't get paid for rotations, my girlfriend was understanding. Now that Amaya has finished, we're going just like the old days. We spend so much time together and hang out 5 to 6 days a week. Wow. Okay. Courtney started acting jealous and controlling. She told me that she feels neglected in the relationship and would like to spend more time together and to limit how often I hang out with Amaya. I let her know that's not happening, but I did start dedicating one Wow, this went an entire different direction than I was expecting. Holy I let her know that's not happening, but I did start dedicating 1 day a week to Courtney. Still wasn't good enough for her. Well, last night when I was about to go out with Amaya, it hit the fan. She was angry and said I've been spending too much time with Amaya. I told her she can't control the time I spend with my friends and left. When I got back, she was crying and asked me if something was going on with Amaya. I told her no. I have never cheated in any relationship. She asked if I liked Amaya. I told her no once again. I couldn't date Amaya because she's a free spirit. She's the type to cheat on her boyfriend. She's not a serial cheater, but if she sees someone who looks too good, she's going to explore. And that's a nah for me. This morning, my girlfriend made breakfast, but it was silent, and she's still mad. Okay! This took a turn I wasn't expecting. Yeah, your girlfriend actually has the right to feel very upset by the fact that you're spending 5 to 6 days a week with Amaya, but only willing to spend one with her. Just because you live with your partner, that does not count as time of hanging out. It might feel like it, but it's not. There's a difference between living time and like actually hanging out with your partner and going on dates and spending time with them and playing games with them and actually treating them like a partner and not a roommate. And I definitely can't blame your girlfriend at all for wondering if something's up when you spend 5 to 6 days with her and are only willing to dedicate one to your girlfriend. That is crazy, dude. That you gotta admit, that does look sus as hell. And it also does kind of bother me, and this is definitely a kind of, because I understand the guy brain, but dude, when explaining why you have no interest in Amaya, your response should be, oh, it's because I have a loving girlfriend. Not, it's because Amaya would cheat on me. Like, you're either a golden retriever boyfriend idiot or something is going on. I honestly, I could see it being either one, but my man, you gotta admit, this doesn't look good. Am I the asshole for calling my friend privileged after she helped me? I'm using a throwaway for my privacy because I don't want PMs about this on my normal account. My friend, 35 female, and I, 35 female, are high school friends and we still live in the same city together. She's a software engineer and I'm a nursing attendant. The benefits she gets are insane. Work flexibility, unlimited paid time off, work from home, etc. That's the only stuff I know about. There could be others, not to mention even though I don't know her salary, it's much higher than mine. Even compared to nurses, which also requires a bachelor's, her benefits are much better. I often feel jealous and mad at myself for not pursuing education and getting a cushy job that doesn't involve bodily fluids. I know I'm not good with computers, so what she does isn't an option, but my job involves shift work, verbal abuse, and occasional, more and constant drama from everyone. My daycare ends at 6 o'clock sharp, and I was basically commanded into staying at 7 due to staffing shortages. I didn't want to, and when I called the daycare, they said I had to pay $75 for a member of staff to stay another hour and a half. My husband works nights and went to work at 4, and my in-laws weren't answering, so I was panicked. I was making less than $40 for an extra hour of work, so it wasn't worth it. I remembered my friend isn't that far from the daycare, so I asked if she could pick up my son. She said sure and picked him up to her house until I could get there. I picked him up and she already had dinner ready and asked me to join them, and I felt weird refusing, so I stayed. Afterwards, we sat on the couch a bit and she's still working and brought her laptop to join me. I asked her why she was working so late and she laughed and admitted she got a massage midday, so she wants to make up the work. I was shocked and asked her how her work can allow it, and she said they don't care as long as the work is done. I told her she was insanely privileged, and she got annoyed and told me it was part of her work benefits and her boss goes on a bike ride every day, so it's an expected thing to be able to do when working from home. I said sure it is, for her, but the rest of us would never dream of something like that. She shrugged and said there were downsides to her work too, and I admit I was kind of pissed she cannot admit her privilege, and said it's nothing compared to healthcare. And she got mad and told me if I didn't like it, I should just leave it, not complain how privileged she is. I left after that and she hasn't responded to our weekly morning walk, so I'm wondering if she's still mad. I think she's dismissive and thinks leaving my job is so easy without more education or skills. But I know neither of us are privileged in the traditional sense, as neither of us are white or rich, so she probably doesn't feel like she is. Okay. Healthcare industry is difficult as hell, no one is denying that. But I do want to give it from the perspective of the friend. She has to delay her work to go pick up your child. She essentially acts as a babysitter, makes dinner, needs to catch up on work, and is told then she's privileged after she assists you with all of that. Yeah, she got a massage midday, but she still had work to catch up on. Now, as someone who used to work in the tech field, one of the downsides that she didn't tell you is crunch. See, the key thing is they don't care as long as the work is done. But when you suddenly need to fit in 120 hours worth of work into one single week, corners are definitely going to be cut. Those benefits are there for a reason, and because when those crunch weeks happen and you pretty much have to be in engineering mode for ungodly amounts of hours for an entire week, or sometimes months, or hell, even years, that takes a toll on you. And keep in mind, I'm not denying the medical field is difficult as hell, and you could definitely use some benefits as well, because, yeah, it definitely sucks to have a pretty difficult job and to see your friend have all these benefits, a higher paying job with the same, essentially amount of time spent towards education, but as you admitted, you're not cut out for the computer work. She is. She was good at something and took advantage of it and found herself in a pretty nice and cozy position with her education and work. You can't dog on someone for working their way up to be successful and finding themselves in a comfortable position after working their ass off, especially when at the drop of a hat, they're willing to rush and help you at a moment's notice. Like, yeah, it's pretty shitty that your friend went out of her way to help you and your reaction was to essentially insult her and call her privileged because her work offers her benefits. Post the r/am I wrong? Am I wrong for ending a date and walking out after only 10 minutes because my date told me I should remove my hat? Oh no. I met a woman on Facebook dating and we decided to meet at a casual steakhouse restaurant with a bar after a very brief discussion online. I'm in my early 40s and I just don't have the time or energy to waste anymore. I met her at the restaurant and she did not look like her pictures. With filters these days, it's to be expected, though I would expect someone around my age to be more honest with her dating profile pictures. She looked close enough like her pictures to not call it a catfish. We get seated next to the bar where they're playing a UFC fight in basketball. We start talking and after 5 minutes, she asks if I'm going to keep my hat on and says I should take it off at the table. I laugh, but I thought about it for 30 seconds, dropped the $20 on the table for the drink I ordered that had not arrived yet and said thanks, but I don't see this going anywhere. Walked out before she was able to respond. Oh my god. A woman trying to correct my behavior less than 5 minutes after meeting me over wearing a hat at the dinner table of a restaurant. Playing a cage fight just isn't the vibe I'm looking for. Dude! It's normally considered polite to take your hat off when you're inside a public area. My guess would be is you probably have some confidence issues regarding a receding hairline. That's probably the main reason why you were so upset about someone asking you to take your hat off. You complained about her catfishing you because she was using filters, and you're wearing a hat at dinner, probably to hide something. Now, behavioral stuff aside, my man, if you've got confidence issues regarding a receding hairline, you got two options. One, if you can afford it, Get the surgery where they take hair from the back of your neck and transplant it to the top. I've seen it work wonders. Members of my family have gotten it. Now, if that's not within your price range, sometimes it's honestly just worth it to double down. Hair starts receding? Shave it, or style your hair in a way where it works and it fits the aesthetic. Gotta be confident about it. The only thing that makes a receding hairline embarrassing is your own perception about it. The more that you try to hide it, the more that it's obvious how self-conscious you are about it. But if you just get out there and fucking own that shit, no one can laugh at you about it. Hell, it'll make you more attractive because you've got that confidence. You got that raise, as the kids are saying these days. Now, once you get that under control, you gotta get your attitude under control, dude, because walking out and just leaving the way you did that's a pretty gross move, my man. That is not a way to handle that at all. You can't just about someone using filters and then the moment they ask you to take your hat off in a public place, that you just simply walk out and leave because you won't be told what to do, like following basic manners and etiquette in a fucking public restaurant. And sprinkling on the weird amount of sexism, a woman trying to correct my behavior less than 5 minutes after meeting me. Dude, drop that kind of attitude. It's not gonna get you anywhere. Granted, I am kind of goofing on you because this is some pretty goofy behavior, my man. You gotta think of it from the reverse perspective and how someone might feel to be, well, in her shoes, with how you acted. I mean, keep in mind, from her perspective, she just asked you to remove your hat and you left the restaurant. What else is she supposed to believe besides you doing one of the goofiest things imaginable? Okay, so I may have been too nice to this guy because I was thinking maybe he was just socially awkward and insecure and, trying to find his place in life and just had a really bad run of luck. But then I looked at his post history and he's got one titled, "Am I the asshole for believing alimony granted so a woman can maintain the lifestyle she had while married should come with the requirement to perform acts the husband was accustomed to while married?" Followed by this gem of a comment, "Context matters. I was told taking my hat off was how a gentleman acts. And when these social rules were established, that is how a lady acted. I don't believe men or women should act in those ways, but if a man is expected to act like a traditional gentleman, it's only fair. Women should act as a traditional lady. If men are expected to open doors, pull out chairs, and pay for everything, then a woman needs to shut up and speak when spoken to." I firmly regret giving any kind of helpful advice to this individual. I actually feel really gross for trying to reach across and try to understand his reasoning and give any kind of advice. God damn. Am I the asshole for taking home olive oil and Parmesan cheese from a restaurant? Earlier tonight, I, 26 female, and some friends went to, Maggiano's? Fuck. Maggiano's Little Italy for dinner. I hope that's right, but we're gonna find out in the comments when I get f***ing flamed for it. My friend, 40 female, next to me, kept joking about taking home the olive oil and Parmesan home because it's so good. I told her she can just pour them in to-go containers and take them home, leaving the original bottles at the restaurant, obviously. She only took a little bit. I told her they won't charge us since it's complimentary. Friend is on a tight budget financially. So I poured the entire bottle of olive oil and Parmesan container into her to-go container, doing her a favor. Our server saw me and just gave me a warning that the oil and cheese have no preservatives, so we have to consume them very soon before they go bad. I said, okay, thank you for the warning. Other than that, the server didn't mind, or no employee complained or said anything to us about taking the oil and Parmesan home. My other friends at the table thought we were rude and had no manners. I feel like it would be rude if it was not allowed, or I packed it after the restaurant telling me no. Neither situation happened. Friends think I'm an asshole for that. I don't think so. Obviously, I know olive oil and Parmesan cheese exist in store. Oh, there's the name again. Maggiano's version just tastes superb compared to grocery store items. Obviously, if there was an olive oil or Parmesan take-home fee, I would pay it for my friend if it existed. I personally think Maggiano's has plenty of olive oil and Parmesan cheese since they're usually always busy and have tons of tables or events. I did not take their entire supply, just 1 table's worth of olive oil and Parmesan cheese. Take a shot every time I say olive oil and Parmesan cheese. Only thing I would do differently is to ask the server beforehand, so I wouldn't hear my friends complaining about it. Even asking, pretty sure the server would have said yes and allowed me to take it. Please let me know what you guys think. Am I the asshole for packing olive oil and Parmesan cheese home for my friend? Maybe not the devil, but definitely just weird as hell. If I saw a table dumping an entire bottle of olive oil into a to-go container, I mean, yeah, I'd probably say go for it. It's not worth the argument. It's weird as that you're just dumping it into probably a styrofoam or plastic container. But I'm going to be talking about you for the rest of time. Also, I think the only real dick move you did here was fill your friend's to-go container with perishables like oil and cheese that they're not going to be able to use all of, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to dispose of. Like, when the oil goes bad, what are they going to do? Well, I can't really dump it down my drain because it's going to hurt the pipes. Can't really throw it away because it's a liquid. Do I just dump it outside and hope for the best? Actually, wait, like, seriously, how do you properly dispose of olive oil? That's something I've never really thought of. I have personally never been in a position where a friend fills a to-go container with raw olive oil for me to use at a later date. How are you going to use that too? Like, the logistics of this were not clearly thought out. Your friends were probably just giving you because it's a weird thing to do, and the server didn't say no because it's a weird thing to do, and I wouldn't start a fight or an argument with someone who's pouring an entire bottle of oil into a to-go container. They have issues at home. That's not an argument I want to start. Also, I'm sure that if you asked them, like, hey, can I buy one of your bottles of olive oil? They would have probably said yes. So you saying, if there was a fee, I would have paid it. You didn't even ask if there was a fee. Like, I don't think you're the devil. I just think you're weird. Which honestly is the most egregious sin of all. Being weird in a social setting? Get on the fucking cross. Have you been waiting to try gamer subs, but the shipping cost is just a bit too high because you're not in America? Well, I got good news for you. For a limited time, for like a week, shipping is free if you use code EYES. The 10% discount has been replaced with free shipping. So if the usual spiel of gamer subs caught your attention, but the shipping costs were a bit high, now's your chance. So strap in and strap on and use code EYES at checkout for some free shipping between the days and... did I really just say that? It's September 6th to September 13th. Hope y'all enjoy free shipping. Code EYES.